This is an example of the GMAB simulation, and this is based on the fall 2020 4C exam. So I have here broken out my solution. I have this broken out in two chunks. So this chunk is all talking about the account value and the GMAB. And then this chunk down here is talking more behind the scenes, what the insurer sees. So that's the commissions and the maintenance expenses. And so I'm just going to walk through these formulas real quick and then how I got my solution. So here you start out with your premium, and then I have the account value prior to the expenses beginning of year, so nothing incurred. And then this is just like every single year I just pick up the account value at the end of the year. So that's what this formula is doing. And then I have my mortality and expense fees, my rider fees, and then so the account value after these is just the beginning of year minus those expenses. The index return and the lapses are right here. And then my account value end of year is just the 49,000 and times by 1 plus the return times 1 minus the lapse rate. And then I did something right here for the GMAB. The GMAB is 100% of the premium. And then the only reason why this is decreasing is it just decreases with the lapse rate. So that's the only reason why you should see a GMAB decrease in this setting right here with these criteria. So it's just 1 minus the lapse rate right there, and so that's dwindling. And then the account value, we see this one. This one's just growing. Essentially, I mean with the lapses too. I mean we're just having a positive return right there. And then my expenses right here. So here's the commissions, and then I also added the 200 for the maintenance expenses there because they just said beginning of year. So I assume maintenance expenses, you add that on top of commissions for beginning of year. And the reason why this is less than 200 is because this PX is just taking into account the lapse rate right there. And so the way I got this, how I solved this, is I have my revenue. My revenue is just all of my fees, all combined. And then the expenses incurred are these below, plus if the GMAB exceeds the account value. And you'll see that the expenses here below, the sum of these, is only 3,700. And this revenue exceeds that by quite a bit, by like 3,000. So the only way my expenses can exceed or equal the revenue is if the account value just goes way down to the pits at the very end. So that's how we have this negative 25% right there. I have here my expenses. It's just the sum of this plus the max. So this is essentially the put option that the policyholder has. And so it's the max of 0 or how much this GMAB exceeds the account value. And to get the profit to equal 0, I just did a what if analysis. I did a goal seek, just making this 0 by changing the index return. And there you go, that's the solution.